everybody. Welcome to a Monday morning edition. The show's called Box Seats, and you guys know how we do. If you're not familiar, this is the show where we talk about sports with a lot of comics. So let's get ready to get the show started. First thing up is I got to bring in my man, Talent. Talent, how was your weekend, bro? How's everything?
It's a good weekend, Frank. I can't complain, man. Everything went swell. Anytime I go out safe, come back safe, it's a blessing. Great weekend, bro.
Yeah, that's great to hear from you, man. Let me bring in my man, Fig. Fig, how you doing? How was your weekend, bro?
Man, it was great, man. Did you see them Clippers?
We'll talk about that in the show. Rodney Perry, how was your weekend, bro? How's everything, bro?
Excellent. Great weekend.
Yeah, that's great to hear. So now this is what we got to get ready to do. We got to get ready to jump into the show. The show is called Box Seats. And first up, we always do is we do something that's called the COVID report. And for the COVID report, I don't know if anybody out there got a chance to catch this, but in golf, John Ram, he had to pull out as he was leading in the Memorial Tournament because he caught the COVID. He got COVID. Officials found out he had it. They had to pull him. He was in a 4-stroke lead, leading it and getting ready to set up to be able to play in the PGA tournament. So since
he was stroking like a mug and had to pull out.
No comment. Tell me what's your thoughts about that, brother? What's your thoughts?
Man, I just think that's so that's deflating as an athlete, bro. Like to be, in your bag, so to speak, things are going your way. It's one thing if you say, hey, this dude is getting blown out and then he had COVID, had to leave. That's a graceful bow out. But when you're winning and things are going right, I just know like the mental thing that takes, that toll it takes on you in the long run. I just hope he can recover from that. That knock you back.
Bro, I can't even
that knock you back, bro.
Fig, what's your thoughts about that?
Man, I'm just thinking of all the innuendos in golf, man. I mean, he was 4 strokes ahead. He had to pull out. Talent said he was in his bag. I'm like, wait a minute, what's in the bag? He's like, what?
He was in his bag.
Yo, when COVID causes you to lose a golf tournament when you're that far ahead, pause. When you're that far ahead, man, is like Talon said, it's deflating.
Yes, man.
Let me ask Rodney Perry what his thoughts. Rodney, what's your thoughts on that, bro?
Well, I mean, you got to look at the upside. Sometimes you pull out for a reason, and you never know. You never know what was going on, and hopefully he'll be feeling better. Get some electrolytes and his protein back up, and he'll be back in there stroking away.
Wow. All right, y'all. Let me. That was the COVID report. Let me talk about. I don't know if you guys got a chance to see about the soccer game over the weekend. USA was able to beat Mexico. It's been a rivalry that's been going on for 40, 50 years. I wanted to bring it up because, I don't know if you got a chance to see the highlights this morning. The fans were throwing objects and threw a lot of objects and injured several players. And it ended up all being said that the United States was going to take the lead. A lot of them got hit over the head with water bottles and rocks and things like that in a soccer field. One guy is supposed to be going to the hospital this morning to be getting a checkup and everything else. So, Talent, what's your thoughts when you hear that the fans, again, are being unruly in a sport? Your thoughts?
Well, I think what's going on in the sports with this unruly conduct and shout out to them. I hope everybody's okay after this melee. But I think this is the climate of everything filtering and spilling over into our public sports,
Right.
National and international. How people feel out there, the world's kind of split and divided, and this group don't like that group. And then what's going on is now we open the doors to finally try to get back to normal in the sports arenas. And all those people is the people from the outside coming in, and that same climate and uprooted energy towards each other is indoors now. It's already going on outdoors, but now it's going indoors. And unfortunately, sports is where we all gather of all walks of colors of life.
Right.
So we're looking at spillage, Frank. That's what's happening.
Spillage. Okay, spillage.
Yo, man, it's kind of funny when you think, not ha funny, but strange. If you look at the history of soccer, it's always been really volatile as far as fans attacking the players. I mean, we have the history of players actually being murdered by the fans because they did something on the soccer field. Here in the United States, we really don't realize the significance and how important soccer is to other countries outside of the United States of America, because unfortunately, our country, soccer is not as big as it is to the rest of the world. It's almost like a war when you're on the soccer field. And that's the way the fans feel. They're very personal about it. And they take a whole new level to the word fanatic.
Right, absolutely do. Roger Perry, your thoughts?
Soccer is one of those sports that it's a country sport, so people take their countries and their kinsmanship very serious, man. And these big rivalries, I don't know if it's the same as what we're seeing in the NBA, but it's definitely got a long tradition of volatileness, in soccer. So it don't surprise me at all to see this happening. And to speak to what Tyler said about the spillage, it's crazy how the show just goes full circle. You got all the strokes, and you pull out, and then you got spillage.
It's Monday, y'all. It's Monday, y'all. Bear with us. Speaking of fighting and everything else, that was not a great segue at all. We got to talk about the Floyd Mayweather and Logan Paul fight. I didn't see the fight. I saw the highlights. First of all, I got to say this. I was utterly surprised that Floyd Mayweather didn't knock this dude out. You know what I mean? Logan Paul could walk away from this feeling kind of good because he lasted 8 rounds with Floyd Mayweather. You know what I mean? He didn't get knocked out. He lasted 8 rounds. The fight was 8 rounds. You know what I mean? Even though no technical knockout or anything else. Maybe it really was a fight. Maybe we were overlooking it. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, what's your thoughts on this, man? What's your thoughts?
No. It was not a real fight. I'm gonna do my impersonation of Frank Holder and give you a Pelican brief of what I thought that was.
Okay.
We've been talking about this guy wanting to be actually certified as a professional and go ahead and be in there. And I think this was the fight. I think this was an agreement that pleased both sides of the gate, if you will. From the Mayweather camp, I don't want to blemish my record. I'm undefeated. Okay, so we're going to give you that. You're going to stay undefeated. But what's going to happen is this guy wants more fights. He wants to be certified as a professional, all that good stuff. We get him a fight with Floyd. He's not going to beat Floyd, but if you go the distance, because that's how they used to judge boxers back in the day. It wasn't about win or loss. It was about who you fought and how that fight went. Like, for example, Tyson was knocking everybody in the first minute.
Mm-hmm.
Here come Bone Crusher. Bone Crusher get in there, go the whole distance. He got his ass whooped the whole distance. But just making it the whole distance made him some extra money, gave him some more prestige of that kick. So this is what's happening with this guy right here, Logan Paul. Now people are going to look at him just like what you said, like, maybe we overlooking him. He went the whole distance with Floyd, blah, blah, blah. And now he got a long career, guaranteed.
All right, Fig, do you think it was all hype?
No, man, I think that was a great segue, man. We went from COVID to golf, the strokes and all that stuff like that to going the distance in the ring. Sometimes you get that young opponent that's really good and has the track record of people not being able to go the distance, a la Tyson. And when you get that opponent, sometimes all you want to do is just be able to stay in there and go the distance. No, man, this was a glorified exhibition. Logan Paul has by 50 pounds, if not more. Weight classes matter. Floyd Mayweather, as you can see, you look at him, he was a little bit, he was overweight for himself as a boxer. He was clearly overweight. Not saying that he was fat or pudgy or anything like that, but for Floyd Mayweather in his fights, he was definitely overweight, possibly a little bit out of shape. And he's 44 years old, for God's sakes. You know what I mean? So, look, the guy did well to stay in there with him. Could he get in there in the ring with a boxer his size, his weight, in shape? Absolutely not, because he was holding on for dear life, and Floyd Mayweather was 50 pounds his junior.
Right. All right, Rodney Perry, what's your thoughts?
Fig is right, man. I mean, the guy was big. You know, like I didn't have a sense of how big he was until you start looking at the footage from the fight, and you're like, yo, this dude Logan Paul is big. He came out with a crazy flurry, and he caught Floyd, but he never hurt Floyd. And we all had to be honest. I mean, the thing that makes Floyd is not getting hit, and so he really put himself in harm's way with this guy because he's awkward. He's unorthodox, and he could have got caught with a punch from a 200-pound guy. That'll knock out any man. And so I'm glad he didn't. But you know, I would like to have seen like this fight is looked at as a disappointment because Floyd didn't knock him out. You know, this whole thing. I win 8 rounds and Floyd Mayweather, get the hell out of here. Like Fig said, you put him in the ring with a Rudy Poo 200-pound fighter, and he get his ass tore on frame.
You know, the funny thing is people are overlooking this stuff. It's celebrity boxing. Speaking of celebrity boxing, Ocho Cinco was on the card the same night. He didn't even last that many rounds either. He got knocked out by Brian Maxwell, who was a certified real boxer.
He looked good though.
Yeah, he got knocked down. Not out.
Knocked down twice. He got knocked down twice, but he actually looked like you know, and you know he's in great shape, but he's still almost 50 years old. So you know.
they always talk about you in great shape. He got his ass tapped. I don't care about how your pecs look. How that jaw? What that jaw do?
Yeah, exactly.
He got that jaw. He did a Trevor Burbank and got up in the Olympics peace joint. He had the Black Power joint up, and the ref is asking him, "What's up? You got a question?"
No, I want to leave, sir. How do I?
He got that jaw rock.
At the end of the day, I was wondering too if celebrity boxing had gone too far, because I think it really did. But let me move on with the show because we got a lot of stuff to cover. The next thing I want to bring up is this morning, I got a press release this morning saying that Naomi Osaka now has withdrawn herself. She's withdrawn from a Wimbledon tune-up match because she's supposed to be preparing for now the Wimbledon. She withdrew in Berlin, and again, she's citing mental health. So, Talon, I'm going to ask you, are you surprised that Naomi Osaka has withdrawn from a tennis match, and she basically is putting it's supposed to be $3 million, $5 million supposed to be her purse for this fight. She put it aside. She does not seem to care about money. What's your thoughts on this one, Talon?
Well, here's the thing, Frank. I mean, I'm not surprised at all because there is no time limit you put on what you need mentally. You know, I can't tell you I'm having mental problems and go, but I'll see you next Tuesday. Give me Tuesday. I should be good by Tuesday. I really don't know. Whatever that is, whatever that time I need for however I feel, I mean, the reality is we just can't call it. You can't. That's something simple like the common cold. You don't know how many days of work you're going to miss. So maybe she feels, not maybe, but obviously she feels like, okay, that's coming up at a certain amount of time and I'm still not in a headspace I need to be in to go totally focus and do the job. And I respect that because I'm like that in comedy, bro. If I feel like I can't give you the 100% performance that I came to give you, I don't want to do the show.
Right. I can't blame her thoughts pattern at all. What you think, Fig?
You know, I agree 100% with what Talent said. There's no timeline on how long it takes to recover from mental illness, or you know, I don't want to call it a mental illness, but whatever she's going through emotionally, mentally, there's no timeline on it because here in the United States, we haven't given it the seriousness and we haven't taken it as serious as we possibly should. Mental health issues are sort of pushed aside. If this was a twisted ankle or, you know, a knee problem, a back issue, or arm, something like that, we're used to that. Nobody knows what it takes to recover from, you know, a mental health issue. It might take years, you know. Again, we just don't know. So let her take as much time as she needs.
Rodney Perry, you were the proponent who was kind of against this and everything else. Now that she's pulled out of this Wimbledon tune-up and everything else, and she decided she's not going to play, what's your thoughts looking at this now? Are you reevaluating your statements that you made, or are you still sticking to your gun?
Well, I mean, the difference of this time is she's not already obligated. You know what I mean? Like, if she was on the job and not doing her job, that's one thing. Then you looked at it as a bit of a prima donna. She's saying, okay, I'm not going to even go into it this time because I know my head is not right. It's probably less about the post tournament interview, and maybe the whole world of tennis is coming down on her. And I mean, it's sad to see, man. I hope we're not looking at this young lady implode. I mean, she's still very young, and it's really sad to see, and we definitely have to consider, like you said, her mental state. And I'm sorry to see, and that anxiety is real.
Right, it really is. All right, next hot topic is we got to talk about before we talk about the NBA is Julio Jones got traded yesterday afternoon. Not a shocker to anybody because Atlanta couldn't sign any of their draft picks they drafted because Julio Jones' money was coming on the trade. But here's what it is. Julio Jones was traded to the Titans. Atlanta's getting 2022 second round pick. Tennessee also getting the 2023 sixth round pick. Tennessee also picks up his salary for $15 million, which a lot of people are not really talking about because that's going to be dead, like a lot of dead money that they had to pick that up too. So a concern. I'm thinking that was a high price to pay for Julio Jones, 32 years old wide receiver, but you got to look on this side. Julio Jones is now going to be up there with Derrick Henry, who's the running back, and A.J. Brown, who's the other wide receiver. And those three tandem, man, they're going to be putting scary things. They're going to put a scary something else, however you want to look at it. And I can honestly say if those three guys don't get injured, Tennessee is going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Talent, what's your thoughts?
I think that's what you bank on, Frank. Like, when you look at a guy's age, when he gets up at age and he's still performing, when he goes to a team that's on the cusp of great things already, it's not a waste. It's not that much of a gamble. It's a gamble to those teams that's still a building and got a long way to go. We've been watching the last couple of seasons with the Titans, bro. They've been knocking at that door heavy.
Right.
So you add another little powerful game changer. I don't know, man. I think it was a great move for him.
Fig, Tennessee is going to be a problem. People are overlooking them. Do they have a right to overlook them right now? What's your thoughts?
You better not. There was already a problem without Julio Jones. I mean, you see the way Derrick Henry was mashing people down, and the way that they were playing, they were contending against KC just last year before last. I mean, these guys are for real, man. They are the type of football team that when they show up, you get your A game ready, or you're about to get run over. They're smash mouth, hard nosed football. This ain't no pretty finesse football team. They're gonna knock you in your mouth. They're gonna run down your throat. They're gonna play some serious defense. And now they got another offensive weapon that you have to plan for and that you need to gear up for. Oh yeah, they're gonna be a headache for a lot of people.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I definitely agree with that. Rodney Perry, let me just ask you this. You could stack the box before against Tennessee and try to stop Derrick Henry. How are you going to stop them now when they added Julio Jones? Because you can't stack the box. You can't do it.
I mean, and that's definitely a fact. And then you think about the Titans have been one of those teams you don't have to really trip off of. You can kind of take that week off. You can't take that week off no more because I don't care. Julio is still a great player, and he still has his body in tip-top shape. The dude is ready to rock and roll, man, and he's getting out of New Orleans to change of pace. I think it's going to be a career season for him.
I have to agree with everything you guys said, but there's also one more thing I want to add to this thing. I don't know if it's necessarily going to be a Pelican brief or not, but I don't know about y'all, but I would not be surprised if they came in second in the AFC. I wouldn't be surprised behind Kansas City. I don't think that's too much to ask for. Again, as long as they don't get hurt, I don't see anybody else really tripping them up. I mean, the Patriots do. I'm a Patriots fan. They look good, but I don't know who else is going to stop them with the way they look right now because you can't stop.
I mean, they should definitely win their division.
Yeah. Yeah,
They should definitely win their division. I mean, you got the Jaguars, the Colts, and the Houston Texans in their division. They should definitely win their division.
Yeah, I think that goes without saying. Let's talk about the NBA. Before we talk about some games, the Lakers. I definitely want to talk about the games. The Lakers had a drastic loss to get out of the playoffs. Magic Johnson went public and spoke about Dennis Schroeder, and he said, "I don't think he's a Laker." I was offended by that statement coming from Magic Johnson, because Magic Johnson, to me, I was like, well, if he ain't a Laker, you wasn't a good GM either. Because honestly, I was like,
wasn't the GM.
Whatever his title was that he moved up when he moved up.
He don't have no title. He's just a human.
Okay, well, that human wasn't a great human when he moved into the upper office echelon of the Los Angeles Lakers. And calling out a player, I'm going to ask you, Talent, I thought that was out of line to call out a player. If he felt that way personally, he should have called him up and addressed it. But to go public with that, I thought was out of line. Maybe that's me. Maybe we're in a new age era. Do you like Magic Johnson calling out Dennis Schroeder, Talent?
Let me start off by, I'm probably the biggest single-handedly Magic fan over the last 40 years. And damn. No, that's not cool. I love Magic to death, but that's unprofessional. First of all, even if that's how you feel, from your position and his position, it's a real unprofessional look. I don't know if that's meant to, evoke a certain emotion from somebody. Maybe it's the whole, how dare you turn down, what was it, 80 million? I don't know, man. I think it's totally unprofessional, and I think that's the setup for the Exodus, if you will. That's DMX's new album, The Exodus.
There you go.
Out of here.
Fig.
Hey, man, listen. I'm not going to go back and forth with Talent as to who is the biggest Magic Johnson fan, but when the Showtime Lakers, sorry, Frank, was going up against the Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, and them Boston Celtics, that was like a race war. And we all knew it. At that time, that's exactly what it was to a lot of us in this country. I absolutely love the Showtime Lakers and still was a Knicks fan. I think Magic, what we had was a get off my lawn moment. Magic is a little long in the tooth, and I think he had a senior moment, like get off my lawn type of thing. Dennis Schroeder is a really good player. Is he a superstar? I can't say that yet, but he's made his bones. You know what I mean? He's worked his way to where he is, and I think he deserves a payday. I don't know how you thrive in a Lakers system when arguably the best player on the planet is your real point guard, because we know that job was given to LeBron James. So how do you thrive, at that position when LeBron James has the ball, when he's on the court 90% of the time? I mean, I just can't imagine how much better you could do at that position when you're really not in control of the system.
Rodney Perry, your thoughts on this?
That would be a great comment if we hadn't seen Rondo do it last year. So he was primed to come in there and have a great season, and he just didn't. And he turned down the $80 million in lieu of performing in these playoffs, and he didn't perform. The Lakers is an organization that they just expect to win. Some cities, they don't expect to win. Boston expects to win. That's why Frank was like, look, them guys not winning, I can't get myself riled up. They expect to win. And when you come up short of that, you're going to catch some criticism. It's going to come from Snoop. It's going to come from Magic. It'll come from all these great Lakers that live in that city or come down to that stadium. They'll come and they're going to tell you, hey, dog, you wasn't shit.
Yeah. I have to agree with everything he said. But now let's move on, because over the weekend, we were watching the games and everything else. Portland ended up losing over the weekend. I want to talk about Dame in a second, everything else. But the crazy thing is, after Portland lost, within 12 hours, they fired their head coach, Terry Stotts. And I was kind of shocked. And within 6 hours after that, Jason Kidd's name was thrown out there to replace him. And then 2 hours after that, Jason Kidd pulled his name out of that, talking about, I don't want to be Portland Trailblazers head coach. I don't even want the job. I'm not even looking forward to that. So a lot of stuff happened in Portland. So there's a lot of questions that are lingering out there. Number one, like I said to you guys over the weekend, I was concerned that Dame is going to leave. We all discussed it, and everybody felt, especially Talent felt that he was going to stay. Now there's been big rumors over that. So let me first head this up and ask you, Talent. Jason Kidd pulling out of the Portland Trailblazers job. Is this the beginning of Portland going the other way and starting to lose? Because Dame is definitely not going to be there. They don't have a head coach. What's your thoughts on the Portland Trailblazers now? Talent. Can't hear you, Talent.
Hey, T.
I still don't agree that he's not going to be there. It just don't. It seems more reasonable that because I don't see Portland wanting to go backwards. Portland spent a lot of time, money, and energy going forward, and to be in these contenders conversations. Like you've been making the playoffs, you're going in the right direction. You got a star player. However, like every other team in the league, the teams that are the top, let's say top 6 teams, East and West, they got more than one guy. It's hard to win in the NBA with one guy. The 1970s and 80s are gone. You're not going to pull it off. Continuity, fundamentals, yes, all those things beat all the jazzy stuff. But at the end of the day, it's a 5-on-5 at a time game, and you're going to need more than the one guy. Even as great as Jordan is, as we talk all the time, he had to get more than one guy. He couldn't do it alone. So Dame is in that situation. I don't think it's going to be, I'm running out of here and going to join whatever situation. I'm still betting and banking that he's going to pull a Jordan. He's going to put those role players in place. He's going to get one more, if not a superstar, close to it. And they're going to keep, trying to win games and beat these teams in the playoffs.
All right. Okay, Fig, I'm going to bring you up because I understand what Talent's saying. Unfortunately, in the new NBA, these guys always want to get together and play on the same teams, like what Talent said. But I disagree with his statement, and one fact being that nobody wants to go to Portland, Fig. It's just nobody's going to want to go to Portland. People are going to want to be out and go somewhere else. I think Dame is out of there. Portland Trailblazers has some huge issues. What's your thoughts on this? On what's going on, Fig, with Portland right now? What's your thoughts?
I think it's very tough because even the coach that Damian Lillard threw in as a replacement for Stotts, as soon as they mentioned Jason Kidd, people started bringing up old rumors about Jason Kidd, and that's why he pulled his name out of the hat for that job. It's like, all right, now nobody was talking about Jason Kidd, you know what I mean, and stuff that may have happened to him in the past. But now all of a sudden his name is brought up for a head coaching job. Now you want to bring up old dirt, man. I mean, it's the same old playbook over and over and over when a black man seems to get an opportunity at a high position. I'm not sure that for the reason that you said, Frank, I'm not sure that Dame Lillard is going to stay because it's very difficult to get players to star players to want to go to Portland. And then I'm not sure how much money they have. Jason Kidd is one of those coaches that develop players. It came out today that when he was in Milwaukee, he was one of those coaches that was really instrumental in helping to develop Giannis. And we see what Giannis is today. Maybe if they would have kept their mouth shut, hired Jason Kidd, maybe you could get Dame to stay and maybe he could do something with Nurkic and turn him into a better player and change that system. And just Dame Lillard and CJ shooting, jacking up 3-pointers all the time. And maybe you could work inside out. Maybe you change the whole scheme and the way that the team works and it will look a lot better.
I will say for the record, I agree with everything Fig said because at the end of the day, if you live by the 3, you're going to die by the 3. And Portland ain't ready there to be there and everything else. Portland has some issues, Rodney Curry. What do you think they're going to have to do? Because they lost the coach. Dame looks like he's about to be upset. He's been there 9 years. Ain't nobody coming to Portland, bro. You know that. What's your thoughts on this issues going on with Portland Trailblazers?
I mean, the thing about Portland, they're a little undersized across the board, and that's a big issue for them. I like CJ McCullough. I like Dame. I just don't like them two together. They remind me of that team up in Toronto. They needed that one more piece. They need somebody like a Kawhi to be there, rock with them, or I mean, but here's the other school of thought. I mean, they lost to Denver, who's operating without their number one scorer.
Mm-hmm.
And so you say, these teams can't operate with one guy, but Denver just did it. And so you're like, yo, the thing they had a cool what if on one of the shows I watched last night with Jalen Rose. They was like, if LeBron would LeBron take Dame over AD?
Davis. Mm-hmm.
And they was like, he said they would get rid of AD all day and take Dame. So I like the guy. It's just he's gonna be in the state Portland and get nothing done.
Right. That's a great points and everything else too. Which brings me up to the next playoffs because I watched the Dallas series. I watched the Dallas Clippers series. As everybody knows, everybody won on the other team's floor. That was huge. But the biggest point that I think was that the Clippers was staring down a 2-0 hole. 12 days ago, everybody thought the Clippers was going to lose this championship. Yeah, hell, I thought they were going to lose. And nobody saw the Clippers winning Game 6 and Game 7. I know I did.
Whoa.
I know I did.
You can't. How you gonna say nobody?
I was about to talent. You cut me off. I was about to say nobody
when
saw
you
it.
say nobody, you include me in that.
Hold on. I was gonna say nobody saw it except talent. You cut me off. You didn't give me a chance. So I'm gonna
I didn't remember Talent saying that.
Talent did say it. He said it a week ago. Talent did say it. So I'm gonna start off with you, Talent. The Clippers now have advanced. And then Dallas is now lost. I want to bring up one great point of asterisk there too and say I think Luka is about to become the superstar of the league. I think the NBA wants him to be the face of the league. But let's talk about the series and tell me what you think about the Clippers advancing. Surprised? Not surprised? What's your thoughts?
No, I said it and I'll say it again. Going into Game 6, everybody was looking. The whole show was looking past them. It was like, oh, so the Knicks they got to play this, and when they get over, I was like, whoa. This brother is not going to lay down. Kawhi Leonard is a perennial champion at different facets of the game. We're not just looking at an offensive threat. We're looking at the defensive claw. We're looking at a guy who gets 4 or 5 steals in the big games. He comes through in big games. Now, whether it's not enough at the end of the day, that's a whole other thing. You know what I mean? Because these guys are supposed to be, as of last year, they were supposed to be the guys at the end of the table, so to speak, sitting at the top of the table, going into a championship run, and they let everybody down. And I said coming into this year, even before they got to the playoffs, I said, I'm going to still pick them at the beginning of the year because they should be the team with the biggest chip on the shoulder in the West Coast. They should have been guys, if somebody say, hey, you're going to knock that guy out, and I go get knocked out, I got the biggest chip on my shoulder because I didn't deliver. I let everybody down. So that's for that reason alone and knowing the caliber. Don't get me wrong. My money is not on PG at all. Paul George, when I'm looking at that game, I'm not looking at him to save. If he does, icing on the cake. But I'm looking at the champion Kawhi Leonard, who comes from my favorite coach, Popovich, the school of Popovich. I'm a ride and die with him until you can't no more.
Okay. Fig, are we overlooking the Clippers? And do you think the Clippers are going to go deep into the playoffs?
I think they will, man. I think they have enough. You know what I mean? Kawhi Leonard, Paul George. They got big men. They got shooters. They got some dogs. They got some fighters. I just think that that they have enough to get it done. Will they? I'm not sure. I really look. I felt like they might have a chance, but I was a little concerned when they went down 0-2 at home. I mean, that was a big problem. This is the strangest series that I've ever seen, where until the absolute last game, no team won on their home floor. I'm just like, I just couldn't even believe that. That doesn't make no sense to me at all. But look, they showed that they have a championship pedigree, and I believe they have it, the ability to get it done. And let's not cast aside Ty Lue as the championship coach, being able to know how to maneuver players and get them in the proper mindset to go out, because Ty Lue was the coach when Cleveland came back against Golden State. And I remember him telling them, look, if you don't think we can win, then don't get your ass on this plane. Let's give Ty Lue some credit too, because I think he was very instrumental in making that happen for the Clippers.
Rodney Perry, your thoughts on the Clippers being able to advance? You think that the Clippers are for real? Did we overlook them? What's your thoughts?
I mean, you can't overlook the Clippers. I mean, they're a great team. They should have lost last year. I mean, that was most of you guys, what you guys were saying all last year. Like, if the Clippers would have been there, the Clippers is good. Would they show up is what we all wondered. And they did. And they showed up at the last minute, but it's never too late as long as you show up. And they did their thing. I like Paul George. I really do. And Kawhi Leonard is a beast. I mean, the dude did his thing, but they still gave up 46 points from Luka. I mean, you got to look at that. That ain't no slouch right there. And they managed to hang on and win by something like 20 points or something like that, right? And so it's the Clippers are back in our good graces, and I think they can make a long run in the playoffs.
You know, I agree with everything you all said. I think they can make a really long run in the playoffs because the crazy thing is Rondo hasn't been played good yet in the playoffs. If Rondo comes alive, the Clippers can be scary. If Rondo comes alive, they're not going to get past. I don't think they're going to go get too deep to the finals unless Rondo gets because Kawhi can't do it by himself. You know what I mean? Kawhi played amazing in this series. He can't do it by himself. But if Kawhi plays amazing like he is and Rondo comes, bro, they could be in the finals like real easy.
Don't you think Kawhi needs to be on the ball more though? Like he seemed better without Rondo getting away.
Yeah, but Kawhi's strength is when he's hanging off the wing, waiting for the ball to be passed to him. Kawhi's at his weakest when he's bringing the ball up because people can trap him at the top of the key like they were doing or tried to do, and he exerted a lot of energy. He was lucky enough to get out and be able to do that. He can't do that for 7 games. You know what I mean? So he can't do that. But if any one of their guards play amazing, they're going to be great. But here's my question to you guys. Luka, everybody's overlooking Luka. I put it on Facebook over the weekend because Luka he ain't the best defensive player. The dude is 22 years old, talent. 22. This dude is a beast. He was throwing around all the guards from the Clippers. Everybody seems to be not talking about how well he's playing. He played during this playoff series. I'm going to ask you, talent, do you think he could, within 3 years, 4 years, do you think he could be the face of the league and take over LeBron James's place as being the guy that everybody's overlooking? I think he can be. I mean, if Jason Tatum doesn't step up to the place where he can be, and not to mention, I'm not even going to go to the color route, but it would not to say that it wouldn't be a bad idea of a white guy being the face of the league, but he could be as dominant as we've ever seen in the league, bro. What's your thoughts? You think Luka can be the man?
I think you're crazy.
Tell me why.
I'm gonna tell you why. The league will never have a white face again. Basketball has become a dominant sport, dominated by the others. You got a better shot at some South American dark but not dark type of Yamin freakish type of thing like that. But it will never be, the face will never be white, not in our lifetime anyway, because of the simple fact of the people who support the NBA, the people who wake up and live and die by what it stands for and their quest to make the NBA. Don't get me wrong. The foreigners and the great white hopes that come out through the college rankings and stuff like that, they will be able to play at that level, and some of them very well. But to be the face is a different thing. To be the face is an on and off the court responsibility. It pushes revenue and paraphernalia and jerseys and stuff like that. So for that reason, we know that the black people, these young black kids and families, are the primary supporters of something like something simple like a sneaker, right? So for that reason alone, I think the face won't go that way again because of financial purposes. Now, will a guy be good enough to bust ass in the league? All there. I think he's already there, Frank. I don't think we got to wait 3-4 more years to see how good this kid's going to be. Like I said before in another comment, he's got the things that win games. Fundamentals and camaraderie. Like, for some reason, he's on the floor with any 4 other players that's with him. He has the camaraderie and that flow of the game. And you thought they played 20 years together. That's how good he looks with others. You know how people always say, well, does he play well with others? Luka plays well with us.
Craig, what's your thoughts?
Oh man, that's hilarious. I like Luka, man. I really do, man. But I'll tell you, there's a couple things that give me pause. One is the way that he takes care of himself. Luka looks like he eats a lot of pasta in the off and after the games, man. He looks like he's a big pasta guy. Although he's able to do this at a young age, I wonder what his longevity is going to look like if he doesn't start to take care of himself moving forward. Because, you know, when you're young, you can do a lot of things that when you get older, that just ain't happening. So I'm not sure. I think Luka could be like the co-face of the league, a la Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, maybe that type of thing. His game is there offensively, not very much on the defensive end of the ball. And here's another thing. I know this is going to sound strange. I'm putting on my coach hat again. I think Luka needs to get up off the ball, man. I think he needs to score at the position of a forward, let a guard handle the ball and get the others involved, because when Luka is going off, everybody else is standing around watching. Like, Luka played excellent. He played in a great game. He dropped 46 points, and they still lost. That tells you there's something wrong with the team concept, because if he was getting everybody else involved like a point guard should, they should have won that game.
I don't know about that. I watched live portion of that game, and he tried his best, but he had people just not able to score. Roger Perry, what's your thoughts on Luka? You know, what's your thoughts on Luka? Will he be? You think he'll eventually be the face of the league?
I don't think so. I don't think he'll be the face of the league. Although the league, I think, has been looking for a great white face for a long time, and if anybody has it, it would be him. But I don't think he's people like Dame and Steph Curry and I don't think these guys about to lay down and just acquiesce and just give it up. So these great players are there already, and he has to supplant them, not just wait for LeBron to retire. He has to take one of these great players out, like you know, this guy that's his nemesis right here. That's the Clippers. That's your nemesis. So now you got a rival, and but we don't know if the Clippers gonna stay together. So no, I don't think he's the face of the league though.
All right, let me just throw this out there too to you guys too, and I'm gonna ask you guys this rather quickly because I want to talk about the Bucks and the Nets too. And please, quick answers. Do you think that there's going to be a high-profile free agent who's going to go to Dallas? Because if Dallas gets one other player, bruh, and that other player goes to Dallas, man, talent, I think they could score. I think they could do some damage in the West because they're one great player away. What do you think, talent?
I think the problem with Dallas, their problem is predominantly a little more defense. I don't think it's about scoring, because when you look at that game, these teams were scoring with each other. The Game 7 was very interesting. They were scoring with each other. Then there was a moment in the middle of the game where both teams was in sort of a drought. And then that's when Kawhi kind of took it on his shoulders and took over the game, and they got that big lead. So what happens is this: game of runs. Basketball is a game of runs. This is where you will come down to needing defense. You guys can run up in like a scrimmage. You can run up and down for 2-3 quarters, having fun. Jumper, oh, he hit one, he won. But I guarantee you, when it's all on the line, you come that fourth quarter or 8 minutes left, who got the D is what it's going to come down to win the game. They need D.
Big, can you give me an answer to a little bit shorter than what Talent just did?
Absolutely. The Dallas Mavericks are a point guard and a coach away from being championship contenders, because you need a coach to put players in the right position. It's not the fact that you get the ball. It's when and where you get the ball. Porzingis, 7'3", he's shooting 3-pointers, and he could dominate everybody that he played against in the paint. You need a coach and a point guard.
Yeah. Rodney Perry, what's your thoughts?
I mean, you got a great owner over there, Mark Cuban. He can really make anything happen. It's not like Portland where you can't get people to come there. I think they can get somebody into Dallas to help, whether it be defense or offensively. But I think I agree with Fig on this note. They definitely need to look at their coaching staff and shore that up. You know, because it was some tweaks that could have made a difference in that game that really hurt them in the long. And like we said with the golfer, man, you need a D.
Yeah, I will throw this out there and say that I agree with Fig too, and I agree with Rodney Perry. I'm not too sure if I agree with talent because the answer was so long, so I'm gonna just leave that one at that. The next thing I want to talk about, man, is the Bucks versus the Nets series, man, because talent. Nobody's talking about James Harden got hurt. He got hurt, bro, and it didn't change that game too much because they were on a roll, but I think it may change the series. Are you concerned for the Nets, the way that things are going out right now against the Bucks? Because you know the Bucks are going to make some adjustments. They're just going to. It's a 7-game series. They're going to make some adjustments. Are you concerned for the Nets? What's your thoughts, Count?
No. I'm trying to be quicker. No, I do have my eye on this game. I'm very interested to see what that adjustment is because when you base your whole existence around these key players and then a key drops out, like we've seen with the Lakers, it's like, what do you do? You know, he's a scoring threat. This has been probably one of the best James Harden we've seen since OKC, where he's involving everybody in his play. He's been doing his thing. Can't front on him. So it's gonna be interesting to watch. I got my eye open.
All right, Fig, what's your thought?
Man, I'm loving what the Nets have been able to do, man. Here's the thing. What are you gonna do? I don't care what adjustments you make. What are you gonna do with KD and Kyrie? You can't double team them. You know what I mean? Because if you double team them, they're gonna get up off the ball. And fortunately, the others that play with the Nets, they're shooters. You know what I mean? You got a bunch of guys who knock down threes, take it to the ball, and this young kid that they have playing in the middle is exceptional, man. This young kid just come in. He just came out of nowhere. And you still got Blake Griffin, who seems like he has a reemergence of wanting to play basketball at a high level. And he was doing the damn thing. I mean, he looked like a rookie coming in. He was all on the floor, diving for loose balls. Pause. He was on. I mean, he was scrappy. He was aggressive. He was going to the paint. He was knocking down 3-pointers. The team is. Look, this is gonna be a great series, man. But I don't see how you stop the Nets. They're just good.
Rodney Perry, do you see anything for concern with Milwaukee? What's your thoughts?
I mean, here goes, man. If the Nets lose James Harden, and God forbid his injury is very serious and it takes him out, but if you lose James Harden, the Nets get real regular. I mean, don't get me wrong, Kyrie is dope, and Kevin Durant is dope, but I just like Harden on the ball. You know, I don't have no faith in Kyrie on the ball.
Paul.
No. I want him on the ball. That's where he belongs. But without Harden on the ball, that team is just really regular to me. So I like to see Harden. You know, hopefully he's not injured for the rest of the season.
Well, you know what? I don't know if you guys caught the word, but he's out tonight and possibly out for the next game, Game 3. They said it on the Sports Center this morning. So I think that Milwaukee has a chance. I don't know what's going to happen if they do or they don't, everything else, but there's a concern for me. Last question I really want to ask you guys is, I want to circle back to Dame Lillard because over the weekend, after they lost, there was some huge trade rumors that he might go to New York and he might go to Miami. I guess the big question I want to ask you guys is, first of all, Dame has to agree to the trade. That's why I want to get to this point, ask you guys real quickly. He has to agree to the trade. Last year, he said he was not agreeing to the trade. He ended up, I think he got an extension and everything else. I'm going to ask you, Talent, do you think Dame is going to agree to a trade now because he's frustrated now? What's your thoughts? Talent.
Well, I don't think it's a frustration thing. Now, who are we to not know that the reason that the coach is gone is to appease Dame, first of all. Second of all, I think the only way I'm happy he goes somewhere, obviously he come to the Knicks, but I don't see it happening, man. I'm telling you, my money is on giving it a shot because how can you let somebody go when you don't even have where you can say, hey, we tried, we put a lot of stuff around you, it didn't work. I think a team makes that ditch effort first. They say, if we tried, it didn't work. They ain't tried nothing yet.
Okay, well, Fig, 30 seconds. Talk to me. Tell me what you think.
I'm gonna just go back to this. James Harden in Houston. They tried everything there too. They did a lot with Portland, Dame Lillard, Nurkic. They brought in Melo. They tried a lot of things. They lost this round without the other team's best players, and Dame seems pissed off to the highest level of festivity. I think he might be out.
Rodney Perry, Dame is in his early 30s. He's been in Portland for 9 years. You see him agreeing to a trade, or you see him staying? What you thought?
Hey man, I like to see that guy in the purple and gold, brother. Come on, Dame. Come with a winner. You want your coach dancing in the videos and everything. Come on.
All right, y'all. That's the show. We got to wrap it up. Let's wrap it up. Rodney Perry is hilarious. Tell everybody out there how they can follow you, bro.
Follow me at SugeKnight.com. If you want me dancing, I'm at It's Just Comedy on Twitter, Talented Comedian on Instagram.
Fig, tell everybody out there how they can follow you, bro.
Oh my God. All social media platforms at Comedian Fig. Box seats Monday through Friday, 1 to 2 p.m. Rodney Perry, I love you, man. You make me laugh every single day, man. I love you, man.
Rodney Perry, tell everybody out there how they can follow you, bro.
Yeah, I'm easy to find, man. RodneyPerry.com on the website, Rodney Perry Live on all of social media. And this brought to you by Frank's Hot Sauce. I'll put this shit on everything.
All right, y'all, that's the show. The show's called Box Seats. I'm your host, Frank Holder. Humor Mill is the channel. You all know how to find us. If you don't, download the app and everything else. We got to get ready to get out of here. All right, y'all. We'll see y'all tomorrow, 1 o'clock. Peace.